I will now call the meeting to order at 7 p.m. here at Macadavic Place, St. George. Good evening and welcome to the February 2025 regular council meeting for Eastern Charlotte Council. I welcome all those that are attending here tonight and those that are watching us on TV. And I wish to welcome CHCO for being here tonight. The camera person is Vicky Hogarth, and in the back is Florence Mitchell. Tonight, I will now ask for a motion to adopt the agenda. Councillor Lee. Second by Councillor Thompson. Question or comment on the motion? All those in favor of the motion? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Maybe as the chair, you could walk me through this. I actually want to make an amendment to the agenda.
Sure.
I'd like to put a new item under 10 under 10 new business. Would be item D. Deadline for water incentive for St. George.
Just going to go read to the agenda first.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. So that'd be 10D?
Yes, correct.
D, and that is
Deadline for water incentive for St. George.
Okay, we have a motion to add this to the agenda tonight. I need a seconder for that. A seconder, Councillor Hatt. Question or comment on that motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, and that's passed unanimously. So that's added to the agenda. Now what I would do is back to the original motion. Go back. So give me a sec. Go back to the original motion. Any question or comment on the original motion? All those in favor of adopting the agenda tonight with the added item signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, and that's passed unanimously. 3 is disclosure of conflict of interest. This is your opportunity to disclose any conflict of interest. That brings us to adoption of minutes of the previous council meetings. The first one is 4A, January the 13th, 2025. I'm looking for a motion to approve the minutes for January the 13th, 2025. Councillor Lee, seconded by Councillor McKay. Question or comment on the motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Contrary, and that's passed unanimously. 4B is January the 15th, 2025. I'm looking for a motion to approve the minutes for the meeting of January the 15th, which was the public hearing of objections as circulated to members of council tonight. I need a motion for that. Councillor McKay. Seconder, Councillor McThompson. Question or comment on the public hearing of objections on January the 15th? If there's no questions or comments, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Contrary, and that's passed. January the 15th is a regular meeting of council. I need a motion for that one. Councillor Tidd. Seconded by Deputy Mayor. Question or comment on that motion? All those in favor of the regular meeting of council of January the 15th signify by saying aye. Aye. And that's passed unanimously. January the 28th is the committee of the whole. I need a motion for that one tonight. Councillor Thompson. Second by Councillor McKay. Question or comment on that motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. And it's passed unanimously. February the 4th, it was a closed meeting of council. I need a motion for that one tonight. Councillor Thompson. Seconded by Councillor Lee. Question or comment on that motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. And that is passed unanimously. February the 11th, the committee of the whole. I need a motion for that one tonight. Councillor Thompson. Seconded by Councillor McKay. Question or comment on that motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. And that is passed unanimously. We move on to business arising out of the minutes. There are none. Delegations, there are none tonight. That moves us to department reports, and I'll go to the CAO. Jason Gadet first.
Thank you, Your Worship. General Government Report for the month of January 2025. Housing and Development, re-engaging with the developer for a single home subdivision in St. George. That's been on the back burner for the last couple of years. Developing tenders for the canteen operations for both the EC Recreation Complex in Blacks Harbor, the arena, and at Canal Beach. Those tenders will be going out actually this week. Staffing working with HR on training initiatives for foremen and additional training on workplace health for other staff. Also updating job descriptions for admin employees and a rollout of the performance management policy and several other employee policies. We will resume union negotiations in February and hiring plan in 2025 for Public Works St. George and Parks and Recreation. Public Works, reviewing needs for new equipment and asset replacement, awaiting delivery of a new plow for the backhoe in this winter plow for the backhoe in St. George. Work will resume on Public Works Yard in Blacks Harbor. Signage, we go ahead with the, we've actually received the signage for the municipal buildings today, so those have been delivered. I'm just now going to be waiting installation. Water and wastewater for Blacks Harbor on Globe, working on several next step actions from December meeting with council. In coming weeks, project overview coming for the dredging of the Blacks Harbor sewage lagoon as well. Roads, we are actively quoting for road work, part of the gas tax CCBF plan for 2024-2028. Parks and Recreation, staff working on plans for recreation events in 2025, various improvements planned for the ball field basketball court here at J.O. Spinney Drive. News release made on the arena project to date. Just FYI, $470,000 project started in 2022 and is expected to finish this year. EMO awaiting schedule date where electrician, generator technician, natural gas company, and public safety inspector can all be on site at the same time to get the two generators activated. And that's sort of coming together this week. EMO plan for municipality has been sent to the province, and a number of EMO courses are being provided for staff. Childcare, YMCA seeking results of plans to obtain construction costs on a new building for childcare in St. George. And that is a general government report.
Great, thank you very much, Jason. Any questions or comments? Councilor Dendrakis, you're first.
I have a question about the gas tax. We've talked about, I know council's talked about, some roads that we could work on in St. George. Myself and the CEO, we've had discussions about this as well. When are we going to actually have a full discussion about and make a decision on this?
As soon as we get quotes, they're being put together today. I checked for an update from one of the contractor companies today. So he did say it's ongoing. So I guess in some ways even dumbed it down for quotations for them as well. I mean, it's something that we would use anyways, but just try to speed up the process to get the numbers. Once we get the numbers on the roads, then we can sit down and say, we'll do these ones this year, these ones this year, and the next year. Give us ability to sort of look at, how much it's going to cost for certain roads and, what money we have allocated for each year.
And just so I can understand, the gas tax, it goes from 2024 to 2028.
Yeah.
Did we use any of it last year?
No.
No, okay.
No. In order to use it, you have to submit the final plan approved by council to the province. And then once they do that, they'll start sending you the allocations. So as soon as we submit that, we'll have the 2024 and the 2025 allocations to do work.
Councilor Hat.
Your Worship, you don't mind, I got a question just to
Sure,
Jason
go ahead, yeah.
on that. So there's a list of priorities that council have set out of roads. It's not waiting for us, we're just waiting for the contractors to get the
Exactly.
prices back?
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I just want to clarify that.
Yeah, I guess once the prices come in, then we can determine how many we can do. If we can do all of them, that'd be great. Any other questions or comments? If not, we'll move on to the reports of Southwest New Brunswick Service Commission, and Mr. Henderson's here tonight. Nice to have you, Alex.
Thanks. So yeah, good evening, council. The past month, we worked on a couple subdivision agreement drafts for the municipality. These subdivision agreements are important anytime you're looking at taking on new public roads and sharing the infrastructure work that's associated with these types of subdivisions. They might deal with timelines, phasing, other construction, when the municipality will inspect, when the municipality will ultimately take over responsibility for the infrastructure, So yeah, whenever you're contemplating doing like a shared type of subdivision with developers, it's a good thing to have in your disposal. With regard to other planning updates, you've completed the Penfield rural plan rezoning, so that enabled that food truck. That's done. I got the copies, the signed and sealed version from the mayor and clerk, so that just goes to registry now, and that process is concluded, so congrats. Last year's development totals, so 2024, you had 100 building permits on the dot, 7.8 million construction value, 24 or 25 new homes or apartment units added, and that's over and above any demolitions. You've also had 45 building lots added to Eastern Charlotte last year, so some good numbers in there. In 2025 so far, it's been slow, but that's kind of the way it goes this time of year. Just a couple development permits, over 100,000 in construction value. One of those being a code-exempt tiny home. And we've had a couple planning files with one new subdivision approving one new building lot this year. Last month, we had a new property come in compliance for enforcement. So year to date, since we started reporting these figures to you in 2023, that's been 62 properties that have been brought into compliance with Eastern Charlotte bylaws. So we still have a number of files to get closed, and they basically remain on service in Brunswick, flagged that they need to come in compliance, and that comes up during property transfers. So yeah, with that, I'll conclude this, and I'll stick around for the Lewis Connor Drive file. If there's any questions on that, I'm happy to take them.
Great, thank you. Any questions or comments from council? Councilor Hatt?
I know there's a few files there that for unsightly that's going to be on and be there for a while, because there's a huge cost to the municipality to take them on, and huge, just being able to share mass of doing them projects. So anyway, thank you for the help along the way, but
Absolutely.
There's some tough decisions to be made down the road, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you gotta budget a bit of a war chest for to deal with some of these properties, and the money you can recoup it when you follow the process correctly, and but you still have to have that money up front to go out and do the work. Yeah, so no, you're welcome.
Great. Councilor Thompson?
I was just wondering, from our CAO, if we've recouped any of the money on our past cleanups.
We have recouped money in the past, but the last two that we did, last two, we're still waiting for reimbursement from the Department of Finance, which they've now gotten out of that process. They've moved it back to ELG. But typically, we would be able to demolish a house, expense it, do up the paperwork with the bylaw enforcement officer, and have a reimbursement within 12 months. But now we're getting into almost basically 2 years. Really, they've not been able to explain why it's taking so long. I think that maybe just because the process is changing, but at the end of the day, we still have 2 files that are pending for reimbursement.
Councilor Lee?
So, in fact, this whole project is dead in the water. We can't, we're waiting 2 years to recoup our money. We can't do that. So, I don't see the value in proceeding with this if that's where it's going. It's a costly venture to demo these houses, clean them up, and the idea was that we would be reimbursed by the province. And 2 years is a bit of a stretch to wait for your money. So I think we need to make a better plan on how to deal with that. I don't know if you can help us with that, Alex.
No, this unfortunately is purely political in the provincial level, so that's something which is kind of out of our hands. If we follow the process, they owe you the money, essentially.
Yeah.
So it's essentially an outstanding payment owed to you. So how you account for that, I know that's tricky, but that's where the float becomes very important. Not just a float, like as of juggling monies, that it's like you probably just need to budget for it, and then you have that much room to do it in a year, and then when you get it recouped, it's a revolving fund essentially, but it could take 2 years to get recouped.
yeah, obviously.
Oh, Councillor Hatt?
CAO, if you don't mind, before amalgamation, wouldn't it have been normal, though, of within a calendar year that we would normally have got that recouping of costs back before amalgamation?
That's correct. Yeah, in previous files, even for like the town of St. George, we've demoed and billed the province with and received funds back within the same fiscal year, at least for the municipality. 2 different fiscal years for the province, but same fiscal year for the municipality.
Councillor Tidd?
Just for our CAO, have we done any follow-up with the Department of Finance and got any response back from them?
They say everything's been approved. I followed up with them early last week, just checking in. It's typically what I do. They said everything's been processed, everything's good to go. That's when they kind of advised me that they will no longer be doing the reimbursements, going to go to ELG. So I'm hopeful that maybe with ELG and their community funding arm that things will speed up, and they understand our fiscal limitations too. But everything's been processed. We're just waiting for the check.
Any other questions or comments? If not, thank you very much. And I'll go to the fire report. Councillor Thompson.
For the month of January 2025, the Eastern Charlotte Fire Rescue, we've had 52 calls. This is up significantly over January 2024. We've seen a large rise in our medical calls, and I'd like to thank each member for their help with the gas leak that we've had recently here. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Councillor Thompson. Question or comment on that report? If not, we'll move ahead to the Public Works report. And unfortunately, Councillor McQuarrie is out tonight because of he's putting a lot of time in working on the highways and making them safe for all of us. So, and he got a hold of me last night. He's getting quite tired. So, but tonight, Councillor Lee has volunteered to give his report tonight.
First of all, I'd like to thank our Public Works, and DIT, and Gateway, and anyone else that was involved in these last 2 storms. They were fighting a losing battle there. It was very difficult to try to keep our roads cleaned up, and they did a decent job considering what they had to deal with. So having said that, I move that the Works Department report of January be submitted as written.
Great, thank you very much. Any questions or comments? Councillor Dederakis, you're first.
Yeah, there's a section, it's a certificate of analysis. What's this additional testing for? Oh, that's a question for our CEO, by the way.
So with our both water and wastewater, we're required to do additional testing in certain parts of the year. There should be at least it's not so many weeks, it's so many days, so sometimes they will request additional testing. It's all part of our requirements through the province for our approvals to operate with both water and wastewater. So, but none of the testings come back with anything that would be set off alarm bells or anything like
Okay,
that.
that was
So,
my follow-up question.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it.
Any other questions or comments? If not, I'll move ahead to the Parks and Recreation report. And Councillor Hatt.
Okay, this was put together by Drew Dugan, Parks and Rec foreman. Eastern Charlotte Recreation Complex, just standard ice maintenance and checks that they do down there, and the monthly inspections on the cooling towers. Hosted a tournament, Fundy Middle High School girls hockey tournament, and I believe there was also a I can't even remember what it's called, like novice age kids now, that was a tournament too, so been a busy month. Held arena safety operations for the 6 public work employees that work down there. I assume CAO that must have been a pretty good course or put on, so. Upgrades to the hot water system, and also there's been new piping and flow metered installed, and 2 new hot water tanks, and that's all around the water that floods the ice with. So acquiring quotes and upgrades that are needed in the mechanical room. That's to do with really regulation changes that are coming, so try to get on board with them. And playgrounds, obviously that's pretty slow right now, but before the big snow they were still being used a little bit, but we still do checks every month on them. The ball fields, everything's tucked away. There has been notice of a little bit of damage around one of the dugouts in Blacks Harbor, so that'll have to be repaired after this 6 feet of ice goes away. and weekly checks at Canal Beach just for checking it out. And that concludes that report, Your Worship.
Great, thank you, Councillor Hatt. Any questions or comments on that? No. I'll move on to committee reports, and does anybody have committee reports? Councillor Dadarakis, you're first.
Yeah, this is from the Eastern Charlotte Age Friendly Committee. This was prepared by Sharon Travis. The committee will be submitting an application for recognition by March 11th. We have all the info needed. So we have the motion from council, copy of survey results, committee summary, term of reference, and a 3-year action plan. Our action plan focuses on our number one survey results. So that was like the number one concern of residents, which is public transportation. Age Friendly and Eastern Charlotte Council supports Lorraine Justison's nonprofit for an accessible bus. The third item was lack of public washrooms identified. So the committee got together and they noticed that there isn't a sufficient amount of signage identifying washrooms in Eastern Charlotte. So they recommend signage for both Blacks Harbor and St. George public washrooms on the buildings themselves and public-facing signage. The fourth point was education and communication. So the committee is working on, they're working on a distribution kit with a magnetic plastic envelope that has an emergency and government resource numbers printed on it, with a card to be completed by the homeowner with medications, emergency contacts, pets and homes, etc. Next thing is, they'll be looking for assistance from our CAO for submitting a grant to cover the cost for the info kits and signage. Age Friendly Brunswick has transferred $2,500 to the municipality to help with these expenses. Hopefully, some of this money that we got can be used by Public Works to install the signage. So that's that part for the Age Friendly. And then just a little update. So a few months ago, council approved, this is for the St. George Beautification Committee. A few months ago, council approved a terms of reference for a beautification committee for St. George. So myself and 3 other members are going to be meeting next week to discuss the next steps. I believe our CAO actually applied for a small grant for our trails, which is due next week. So that's just a update for us.
Great, thank you, Councillor. Is there any questions? Councillor Lee, you're first.
Just one for the CAO. Did we send them a receipt for the 2,500, Jason?
We sent them yes, we did, for the invoice, yeah.
Good, perfect, thanks.
There's no other questions or comments. I'm going to move. Anybody else have a committee report tonight? Councillor Hatt, I thought you did.
All right, for the month of February. So we're almost through February 2025. Eastern Charlotte Recreation Complex has been the place to be, with lots of ice times, hockey games, private skates, what used to be called bubble skates, birthday parties, and more. Our tentative date for shutdown for the 2024-2025 season is looking like towards the end of March, probably around the Sunday, March 23rd. That's the tentative time. Mind you, playoffs and game schedules and all that come into it. And, if we ever got lucky and got provincials hosted down this way. So that will be to be determined in stone. So some bad news. Regarding Valentine's Social, the weather has just, let's be honest, been a bear the last 2 weeks here. So for safety, it was postponed on Valentine's Day, then it was moved to the 20th. And because of the ice and buildup still on parking lots, walkways, and walking surfaces, it's been decided to cancel, and staff made that decision. So cold weather, and there's some remaining ice and road conditions. So anyway, just stay tuned. There will be a new date for the next social, but at this time, it's best to play it safe on that. I want to take the opportunity to thank everybody involved in the quick action of last week's gas leak. Of all my time of being a Charlotte County boy, I don't remember a gas leak of that magnitude. And it was so nice to see the community come together. And social media can be a bear to deal with, but social media did its finest, where everybody shared and sent out messages and willing to help open up other centers than just here to help. So I want to say thank you to all the first responders. I want to say thank you to all the staff of Eastern Charlotte. And I definitely want to say thank you to all the contractor crews that were involved on getting this back together and getting everybody home that night. And so March break's just around the corner, and there's lots of free pucks and sticks and free skating at the Eastern Charlotte Recreation Complex. If you haven't gone and checked on the Eastern Charlotte Recs page that's on there and hit the like button so you can stay updated, that's when most things are all posted. The full schedule's posted there every week of what's going on. We see month after month that page is growing, so please share it. Please send it to anybody you know, because that's how anything that's going on as far as recreation, it's an easy tool to use to get informed. And as mentioned last month, our team has started the process of the festivals and kind of boxing that up and see the dates and times. Date for Summerfest is the same as it always was, third weekend in July. No date change or nothing. That's kind of been set in stone for years. So anyway, just trying to set that up. So if you or your team wants, or a team that you have want to be involved or want to be in an event or want to help with that, just give the office a call and they'll greatly take the information and work through it. Like you said, there's some stuff that needs to be ordered and scheduled, like bouncy castles and bands and all that stuff way in advance. So we can have them here for July. So that kind of stuff has started to be shored up. So anyway, that's pretty much for the month of February. But I do want to say a special thanks to all the Public Works crew. Man, I haven't seen an ice storm like that in a long time. And it's great to see how quick stuff was opened up in people's driveways and being able to help. So thank you very much. That's it, Mayor.
Great. Thank you very much. Any questions or comments on that? If not, move ahead to the financial statement tonight. I need a motion from council to accept the financial reports for January. Councilor Lee, seconded by Deputy Mayor. Question or comment on that motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Contrary, and that's passed unanimously. Next is an old business. I'm going to go to our CAO on the first one, which is the Lewis Connors Drive, and give a little background on that one.
Thank you, Your Worship. So this would be vesting the property, the subdivision of the Lewis Connors Lane in Blacks Harbor. This will be a land for public use for a public road. This road will be going down to the Project Village housing project once that gets underway. But in order to complete the subdivision, the land has to be come to council and accepted by council. Within the terms of subdivision, there's certainly stipulations on the type of road that needs to be done, the requirement that the road has to be paved and completed by the developer. So I guess certainly any council has any questions on this, we both have Alex Henderson here and Matt Rillo with Project Village that can answer some questions too.
Okay, so at this point, council, before we move ahead any further, I need a motion that council give us assent to Lewis Connors Drive as a public street. So I need a motion for that first before we move ahead any further. So I got Councilor Hatt, seconded by Councilor Thompson. Okay, question or comment? So now's a good time to, if you had any questions or comments, this is the time to ask anything to our CEO or to Mr. Henderson. Councilor Thompson?
I was just wondering when you guys would start to break ground on this project.
Yeah, if you like, Matt, why don't you go right to the microphone? That way, because the camera can get you up better too. Yeah, great. Thank you, Matt.
The quick update is that we are just finalizing the contract with the general contractor. And one of the last steps for our lending agreement with CMHC is the subdivision. And we need that done before, otherwise they'll put security in the whole property, not just the piece we're building on. So right now it's June, breaking ground. So, yeah, 2025.
Next time I see you, you'll have a shovel in your hand, right? Councilor Hatt.
So CAO can comment on this. the sidewalk was already put in, the curb was already put in years ago when we put that branch in as the old municipality of the village of Black Harbor. A lot of people ask, how come you didn't pave the road? When you do that, you put all your drainage in, you put all your curb stops in, well, how come it wasn't paved? Well, can you imagine all of a sudden 50 concrete trucks going through a brand new paved area trying to build a new building? So I know I've had some people over the last couple of years ask, how come you went through all that work and never paved the road if you expect people to build in there? You don't usually pave it until finally the construction's done. So anyway, CAO.
Yeah, just common sense. If there's no other questions or comments on the motion, I'll look for a vote on this. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Contrary, that's passed unanimously. Just had a little pause there just for excitement. Okay. Exit 56 is the next one, and I'll go to our CAO for comment on this.
Thank you, Your Worship. So looking for council just to do a motion for approval to move ahead with the Exit 56 preliminary study. So this is the Exit 56 that's Tim Hortons. This study will be conducted by CBCL. They'll look at services that are required, any improvements that are needed to that exit. Services meaning municipal water and wastewater. They'll also look at traffic impacts that are in that area. I'm sure that there's already been some studies that have been done in that area that they'll be calling upon. But this would be moving ahead. The municipal portion would be $3,000 of the $33,000 study. So it's $3,000 of the municipal portion. The other parts of that is being paid for by RDC, and there's a portion being paid by the Service Commission. So it's three-way cost. But the municipal portion will be $3,000. We do have municipal engineering budgeted funds that would cover that. So we're fine in that regard. But I think this is a significant moment of trying to move ahead with trying to develop that area. It's a very central area and poses great potential for retail, industrial, commercial development. Especially being a very central point of Eastern Charlotte as well.
Great. At this point, Council, I need a motion, so I'll entertain a motion. Councilor McKay, I'm going to have you read the motion today. Yes, please. Yeah.
I move that council engage services for a preliminary study to explore options in the area of Exit 56, the intersection of Route 172 and New Brunswick Highway 1, for the expansion of services and improvements for vehicle traffic. I further move that council authorize the spending of the municipal portion of the $33,000 for the study in a partnership with the Regional Development Corporation, the Regional Service Commission.
Okay, we're going to make that all one motion, okay? Okay, we have a motion on the floor, so I need a seconder for that. We have the deputy mayor. I'm going to go to the council again at this point for question or comment. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Contrary, and that's passed unanimously. Excellent. Next one is the policy, new policy, 10B, is policy 07-2025, security camera rebate program, and I'm going to go to the CEO for comment on this.
Thank you, Worship. At the request of council, this was a policy that was drafted, security camera rebate. It's mirroring much the very same as what the town of St. Andrews did last year. There's money put in the budget for 2025 for this program. Details are outlined and have been distributed to council. And this would be valid for applications for installments that are from June through to August, with a deadline for submitting applications for reimbursement to the end of September. So the reimbursement would be for additional $100 off of your surveillance camera. Just fill that out. There's a form that's also included. They'd fill the form out and they'd get a $100 rebate from the municipality for the security cameras. We always say, while supplies last, there is certainly while the budget lasts on this or until the program is done.
Great. At this point, Council, I'll entertain a motion. Okay, Councilor Hatt?
I move that council approve the policy 07-2025 security camera rebate program.
Great, thank you, Councillor Hatt. I need a seconder for it. Councillor Lee. Question or comment on the motion? Yeah, go ahead, Councillor Ted.
Just in regards to the requirements, we would put that up before, I'm assuming June the 1st, we put up well in advance so people would know.
That's correct. Our plan is now, if this is passed with council, that we'd post this on our website. So people can take a look at it and build their system accordingly.
Any other questions or comments on the motion? Councillor Lee? Oh, no, okay, you were just rubbing your head there, okay. Okay, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Contrary, and that's passed unanimously. Okay, next item on our docket tonight is the well field protection. Did you speak on that, Jason?
Yes, so there's some requests within council to move ahead with looking at the Blacks Harbor well field. This is the well field in the Jackson Woodland area, to move ahead with investigating this well field for future protection. Unlike the well field in St. George, or the wells of St. George, they are protected. The Jackson well field is not protected. Though it's recognized, it's not protected, and this would be moving ahead on council's request to look at the process of moving that area under protection.
Okay, at this point, council, I will entertain a motion. Councillor Hatt?
All right, be it resolved that an investigation be made into the process and feasibility of a formal protection of the Blacks Harbor utility source well field, and the result and the impact of such protection upon residents and owners of the property within the well field boundaries.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. I need a seconder, Councillor Ted. Question or comment on the motion?
I got a-
Councillor Hatt, would you go
I
first?
got a comment.
Yeah, sure.
This not only protects, start the process to protect the residents of Blacks Harbor, some of Beaver Harbor, Penfield. I mean, we only have one major water source that's drawn out of, and we all know the aquifer in Penfield. So I believe that this is, critical on getting some control around that necessity of life of water, and make sure that for generations we have water and it doesn't get impacted. So, thank you.
Good. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Contrary, and that's passed unanimously. Now I'm going to go the added one for night, 10D, which is the deadline for water, I can't read my own writing, water incentive for St. George. I'm going to go to Councilor Dedirakis for this. If you want to, would you like to give what I'll do, give us more of a concise motion, so that,
Sure.
and it may just go slowly, because Kara's going to have to get this down right.
I will.
She's just filling in tonight.
I just wrote something together, so we'll
Yeah,
work
yeah,
together.
if you got it all
But
written
the
down, that
reason,
would be great.
yeah, the reason why I brought this up, we had several discussions about putting a similar, what's the word, incentive program as they do at the former Village of Blacks Harbor for St. George, for ratepayers, water ratepayers in St. George. So I think, like, by putting a deadline, if we put a deadline, we could work towards that deadline, and we're more likely to actualize it. So I move that council set our March regular meeting, so this would be Wednesday, or is that too close, do you think? Well, we'll discuss it, I guess. Wednesday, March 19th, 2025, as the deadline to have a draft bylaw completed for St. George, adopting the same discount incentive as Blacks Harbor.
Do you have that written down, Councilor Dedirakis? Or did
Yes.
you do
I just
top of your
wrote
head?
something down right now.
Yeah. What I'm going to do, if you could, just read it back one more time.
Sure.
I just want to make sure Kara has it.
So I
'cause it has-
move that council, I don't know if this is grammatically correct,
No,
but
just
I
take-
move that council set our March regular meeting.
Yeah, gotcha.
So Wednesday, March 19th, 2025, as the deadline to have a draft bylaw completed for St. George adopting the same discount incentive as Blacks Harbor.
It's going to go to Karen. Did you make sure you had that? Okay, great, excellent. I didn't want to move ahead. So we have a motion on the floor, so what I need now is a seconder for that? Councillor Hatt? Question or comment? Councillor Lee, you're first, and then I'm going to go to Councillor Tidd.
Just one for the CAO. Maybe, Jason, you could explain what that incentive is?
So the current incentive or discounts in Blacks Harbor are, if they pay their water bill within a certain amount of time period, they would receive a discount off their water bill. Also, within that same, I guess, water fee structure, there is an interest rate as well for late payments, which neither of those two things are present with the current water for St. George. So that's kind of what that would entail.
Councillor Tidd, you're next.
I was just going to say, within the motion, you might want to mention what it's for. Water, probably.
Water, yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Not
sorry.
just for Karas, probably.
I apologize, yeah. Do I have to make a motion to amend that?
No,
Okay.
that's fine. No, we just make sure. I guess we all just assumed it anyways.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm not going
I got a question.
to. Yeah, go ahead, Councillor.
My only concern would be is, might want to have that for residential to be able to make a timeline of it, because with industrials, there's rates and users and all that stuff. So my only concern maybe is we want to make that for residential rate, and that might be something that's maybe just a comment.
Any other
Can I
questions?
ask,
Councillor Devrakis, you're
May I
next.
ask the CEO his
sure.
feedback on this?
Yeah, I guess we would draft something and come to council. I mean, much like Blacks Harbor, it is very residential focused,
Yeah.
and it would be an amendment. We would have to first do an amendment to the current water bylaw for St. George. We'd amend it by taking out any mention of fees and creating a new fee bylaw for St. George. That would just basically, just meaning that there's going to be two bylaws that basically deal with the water system in St. George. So that's not impossible to do. So we definitely focus more residentially.
Perfect. Another question for our CEO. Do you think that this is something that can be done by March?
Sure.
Amazing.
We like deadlines, so definitely we can get a draft by March. We've been working on something since last year, just because as we sort of went through reform, any bylaws, we typically see where there's two different things happening. We've been trying to look at drafting some sort of an amalgamated bylaw. So I know we talked, I think originally we were trying to merge both the water bylaws, but it's far simpler to keep them separate and just work amongst a fees bylaw for St. George. So we do have some things that are drafted there now. We just would have to, we'll get together with council and discuss that. And we've already ran through some different scenarios, especially with finance, because it's not an easy task to do.
Yeah.
And we also have to budget for the discounts. The discounts are an expense each year within the Blacks Harbor water system, which we didn't really budget for 2025 within the St. George water system. Because, as you give that discount, there's a fee to that, there's a cost overall at the end of the year. So that's typically put in as an expense. But then sometimes we in Blacks Harbor, we write it off with there's sometimes interest charges as well. So, but yeah, we can have something drafted by March.
Yeah, go ahead.
I know in Blacks, it's, I don't know if we ended up with a small net or a small gain, but what it ended up doing is being, an incentive to get your bill paid on time, which made help with all the people in the office on the billing cycles and not having to carry balances and stuff. So it was a huge thing on that. I don't think we probably, like, taxpayers saved some money, but I don't think we ever netted gain or net loss. It kind of just washed itself out in the end, so.
Great. Any other questions or comments? I do know that in Blacks Harbor that if they don't get a water bill, it's not everybody, of course, but some people, if they don't get the water bill, they're wondering, where's the water bill? And they want to pay it right away, so just because of the discount. It's not because they get free water. Really, that first person through the door gets free water, but I do know that people are used to it and they look forward to getting the bill. So.
Yeah, Your Worship, too, the other thing is I agree with Jason on trying to keep them separate, because even the billing cycle in St. George and the billing cycle in the municipality, one's 3 times a year, the other one's 2 times a year. So trying to merge that and make people's bill habits change, like, I don't think we want to muddy that. Give people a discount and give them the option to pay their bill on time. That would be, I think, the scope, I would think, Lynn, yeah.
Yeah.
Great. I don't think we voted on that yet, so all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, and that's passed unanimously. Okay. The next item tonight is correspondence, and I'm going to go to Councillor McKay first, and we have a letter from the ASDS, the Turnaround Awards. It's a donation request, and I'm going to ask Councillor McKay to read that letter out tonight.
Dear Mayor Craig and members of Town Council, for several years, Anglophone South District School District and the St. Stephen Education Center has been housing their annual Inspire Awards. This evening recognizes middle and high school students from the schools across Charlotte County for making a significant change in their life, either through their academics, attendance, or behavior. It is a great event for educators and families to come together to celebrate the success of students. This year, the event is being held on Thursday, May 8th, 2025, at Dominion Hill. As you know, putting on the event for over 100 people can be costly. As an education center, we are asked to look to our local businesses for support and help pay for this event. We are very fortunate that many local businesses in Charlotte County have agreed to be sponsors of the Turnaround Achievement Awards. We could not put this event on without their support. We have been very fortunate that many mayors from the communities in Charlotte County have attended this ceremony and understand the great gains these students have made in their lives. The recognizing committee of the Turnaround Achievement Awards is asking if the town of St. Stephen would be willing to sponsor a student or 2 guests to attend this event this year. Campobello Island Consolidated School will be recognizing 2 students for this award, one from the high school and one from the middle level. The cost per student is approximately $200 once you factor in the cost of the meal, their awards, and other miscellaneous expenses. Having this expense covered would allow other monies to be used to ensure we could provide our students and their families an evening they will fondly remember. I thank you in advance for your consideration in this matter. I look forward to hearing you at your earliest convenience. Sincerely, Jennifer Grant.
Great. Thank you, Councillor McKay. You did an awesome job. You did a great job.
It's a mouthful.
At this point, Council, I'll entertain a motion for that. Councillor Ali, I see your hand up.
I move the council make a donation of $400 to Anglophone South School District to assist with their Turnaround Achievement Awards program.
We have a motion on the floor. I need a seconder for Councillor McKay. Question or comment on the motion? Yeah, Councillor Ted, you're first.
I would think that letter was for Eastern Charlotte, not St. Stephen. That, just a clerical thing.
Oh, sorry. No. Yeah, you always get a, that's good. Any other questions or comments? That's my question. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, that's passed unanimously. The next one is, Councillor McKay, do you have that letter? I think the next one, I think it's in the back of the one you just read. Here we go. Yeah, if you could read that one, I would. You do a good job. You do a great job. You must read storybooks at night, do you? No, you don't. You do a good job.
To whom it may concern, I am contacting you on behalf of the players, parents, and coaches of Fundy Middle and High School Middle Level Boys B basketball team. The team will be hosting and participating in tournaments around the area throughout the basketball season, which brings added cost to each player. We are looking for monetary donations throughout the community to help offset any extra costs associated. We would be grateful for what our sponsors, for what our sponsors, just like you, have helped accomplish over the years. With your contribution, we will be able to offset costs for equipment, warm-up jerseys, and tournament fees, all while keeping our youth more active in the community. We hope you're able to contribute, and thank you for your consideration. To contribute, a check can be addressed to Fundy Middle and High School with Fundy Middle Level B in the notes. Thank you, Hazen Merchant and Sawyer Carton.
Thank you, Councilor McKay, I appreciate it. At this point, I'll entertain a motion from council. Councilor Tidd?
I move that council make a donation of $250 to Fundy Middle High School Boys B basketball to assist with their fundraising.
Great, we have a motion on the floor for $250 donation. I need a seconder for that. Councilor Thompson? Question or comment on the motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. And it's passed unanimously. Next one is from Fundy Middle High School again. This is the Safe Grad donation, and I'm going to go to the Deputy Mayor to read this letter out.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As we approach the end of another school year, we at Fundy Middle and High School are excited to celebrate the hard work and achievements of our graduating class. We are reaching out to you in hopes of securing support for our annual Safe Grad celebration, an event dedicated to providing a fun, memorable, and safe experience for our graduates. We appreciate any level of support you can provide. Donations from the community partners help to cover the cost of travel, venue rental, food, prizes, and souvenirs for our graduates. If you are able to contribute, please feel free to contact the school and discuss how we can help. Your generosity will be recognized within the school community, and we sincerely thank you for your support. And that's from Rebecca Rotherham, Principal, Fundy Middle and High School.
Great, thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. I appreciate that very much tonight. At this point, council, I'll entertain a motion. Councilor Lee? Okay, I see you moving.
I move the council make a donation of $250 to Fundy Middle School and High School to assist with a Safe Grad celebration for the graduation class of 2025.
Great, we have a motion on the floor for $250 donation, seconded by, okay, I saw two hands at once, I guess Deputy Mayor, you're the closest one to me, so I saw you first. Question or comment on the motion?
Got a comment.
Yeah, go ahead, Councilor.
Your worship, to the CAO, is that roughly what we last year as well?
It is, yep.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments on the motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, and that's passed unanimously. That brings us next, council, to public presentation. Appearances under bylaw EC-01, section 7.1. Members of the public shall be entitled to address council for 5 minutes with no debate from council on matters of municipal jurisdiction. The only thing I'd ask, if you just give your name and civic address before you speak and have at her. Going once. Going twice. Oh, we do have, oh, there we go. Nice to have you here tonight, Karen. Great, always good to see you.
Maybe not. My name is Karen Kernigan. I live at 108 Latte Road. I told Sid I wasn't going to talk, but I fibbed. I just have a question.
Is he watching on TV tonight?
No, he's not watching. You don't want to hear me. Housing development that's been on pause for a couple of years. What location is that?
Yeah, we're not really supposed to get into the questions.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
that's
Okay.
that's all right. That's all right. Take your time.
So I was just on Facebook this week and reading some comments about a gentleman that bought some property, and he paid $87,500. And I don't know the issues on the property or anything like that, but some of the things that was suggested were a little concerning. And so I just thought, we need housing, and I would just hope that as a council that we would sit down and have a real good discussion with whoever this person is and try to make up some arrangement to get along or figure out what the issues are. Because it didn't sound, with what I was reading, it didn't sound good for us as a community. And also, what it said was that he may contact a lawyer. And so, if we're not open to working together and trying to figure something out, it could come back on this municipality, the Eastern Charlotte, with legal actions. I don't know if anybody's entitled to that, but that was just some of the things that I read. So, you know, I don't think as a municipality that we need to be into legal actions. That's all I'm saying, is I just hope that the council would sit down and have a good discussion and see if you can work something out with the person. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming in tonight, Karen. Always good to see you. Anybody else like to go once? Councilor Rubin? No? Okay. Going twice? Going 3 times? Okay. I'm going to go to statements by members of the council, and I'll start with my deputy mayor first.
As been said here tonight, I'd like to thank Public Works and Fire for the last couple weeks of extenuating circumstances, I guess they had. They've done a great job. Thanks, everybody.
Absolutely. Yeah. Councilor Thompson.
This is a question about the streetlights for Ward 2. The budget money has already been set aside, and there is a budget line for those. I was just wondering when possibly the list will be sent in.
I believe that council is also looking at putting together a streetlight policy for this year too. So I know there's some other streetlights as well for the rural areas, and I think everything's just been sort of dependent on what council's wishes were going to be with the policy.
We've been waiting on other policies too since October, and none of them have been moved. So when do you think with the possibility of getting this one moved?
Whenever council wants to bring that policy forward. I mean, streetlights are a thing that's going to be in budget for every year. I know it's budgeted for this year, but if we move ahead with tax authority merging, a streetlight in the rural area is going to be a cost for everybody around. So I think because of the impact of financially long-term to the municipality, I certainly think it's a policy that needs to either be looked at, either a yay or an A, whether council decides to do it or not. But, you know, one ward putting streetlights today, well, that tax authority is not going to exist in the future. It'll be an expense across the board. So, but if council doesn't wish to have something this year, then yes, we'll have to just be in the practice of putting in streetlights whenever there's a request, I guess, which is a dangerous situation to get into because ultimately just anyone can put a request in and that's a member of this council and we just put it in. So that's typically what we've been doing. So I think it's having some sort of parameters so that we can put it through and say a streetlight request has come in. Does it match? Does it fit in the system? That's certainly what we're looking for council, not just for this, but I guess just long term down the road as well.
Okay. So the money has been allocated and it's just sitting there. So if that money doesn't get used, will it get turned back into the same ward or will it get?
It could, yeah. I mean, I guess by the end of this year, if whatever funds those were don't get used for streetlights, then that tax authority does have some funds budgeted for this year, right, for the 2025 year. So if it's not this year, then yeah, come September, if we don't look like this is going to move ahead to streetlights, then yeah, we can look at reallocating it for something else. Definitely.
Just to add to that, the tax authority, which you touched on, that's going to come before council here over the next week or so, and we're going to put a request in. Before we put the request in, we're going to come to council first and then put a request into the province for the tax authorities on those six tax authorities to become one. So that's something we are going to be doing right away too. Councillor Hatt, you're next.
No.
Councillor Dederekis.
I guess this is a question for our CAO. Going forward, can we invite the YMCA to, actually it's a question for council and I'm directing it at the CAO. Can you send an invite to Paige Scott of the YMCA and ask her to, give council an update, what they're working on, any upcoming announcements? So that's one thing. And I just want to say that because I am getting some questions, childcare is a priority for this council. We right now, this evening, we passed a motion to look at Exit 56. Economic development is a priority for council. And we can't talk about economic development without talking about childcare. we're talking about at least 50%, over 50% of our workforce. I know that it's taking a long time to go forward. I'm not losing hope, and we're still working hard on this. You know, I want this to happen before we're over. So that's it.
Just got a quick question for that, Councilor. Would it be better to have Paige come to the regular council meeting to give that report?
Yeah, I think it'd be great if she would come to our regular council meeting, because I'm not sure if everyone knows that, you know, we do have a partnership with the YMCA, so this would be a great opportunity to showcase that partnership.
Sure.
They got a Facebook page too for
They do?
our area.
I do?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go to Councilor Lee, Councilor Tidd, Councilor McKay. We're pretty quiet tonight. So our next meeting tonight is March 19th at 7 p.m. right here at Macadavic Place. I need a motion for adjournment. Councilor Tidd, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming in, guys.